Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I know the idea for this video is kind of stupid, but hear me out. Hear me out. My favorite color of all time is yellow. I really liked yellow as a kid. Recently I had a phase with really liking orange, but now I'm back on track with yellow, and in an attempt to size down my physical TBR that's right there, I thought it would be a fun idea to try reading all of the yellow books that I have currently on my physical TBR. With the mention that when I'm saying yellow books, I'm saying either they have a predominantly yellow cover or they have a yellow spine or yellow accents. So yeah, with that in mind, let's go check out my physical TBR card and see what books can we include in this video. Let's go. Okay, so this is my physical TBR shelf, and as you can see, this is the fantasy side. I don't have that many yellow books on this side, but let's see what we can come up with. I instantly see the Honey Witch, which is a newer release that I was super excited to read. So this is not predominantly yellow, but it has yellow on the spine and it's about honey. So I think this fits for this video. And other than that, I don't really see anything else. I mean, I could include Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor, but this is not yellow, it's gold. So I don't think it works. And then here on the bottom shelf, I really don't have any yellow books. So let me switch over to the litfic side. Okay, so on this miscellaneous and literary fiction, general fiction side, I do have some yellow books. The first one that I see is, actually, let's include Daddy by Emma Klein. It has this yellow accents and also yellow on the spine. Next up, we have a newer release as well. This is by Jenny Mustard. It is Okay Days. Next up, I will include Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. Even though this doesn't have a strictly yellow cover, it has a yellow spine. Next up, we have something about cats, but I can't see. The Cat Who Saved Books by Susoki Natsukawa. Okay, what else? We have Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And here on the bottom shelf, it is this one, if I can pull it out. And I will try to show you why I'm choosing this one. It is a hardcover. The dust jacket is not yellow, but the actual hardcover is yellow. So I will include this one as well. Okay, so now that I have all of these books out of my physical TBR, realistically speaking, will I be able to read all of these in this video? Probably not. My plan is to read Metamorphosis first. This is very short. I think it's only like 80-90 pages or so. And then I will kind of see from there what I'm feeling. But yeah, I would like to read The Honey Witch and Okay Days in this video, but we'll see how I feel when I'm finishing Metamorphosis. Okay, let's get to reading. weeks have passed since I filmed the intro for this video, and I managed to read 6 out of the 7 books that I said I wanted to read. So I'm quite happy about that. I have my matcha here, and let's just go one by one and tell you about my experience reading these books. Okay, the first book that I read is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, and I read this book for school like probably more than 10 years ago. I didn't remember much from it. I knew like the main plot and what's happening in the beginning and what's happening in the end, but I didn't really remember how we got there. This is so sad. I didn't remember it being quite sad, to be honest, and I was quite taken by surprise by that. If you don't know, in Metamorphosis, we are following Gregor Samsa, who is this guy who works hard to sustain his family, his parents, his sister, and he wakes up one day and he's just a cockroach. And, you know, people are mad at him because he cannot work anymore, he cannot sustain his family anymore, and things are kind of escalating from there. This is full of symbolism and who we are as a society and about the human nature, about alienation, and it's just heartbreaking to read what happens by the end of this book. This is very short, so if you have not read it so far, if you've been maybe intimidated as I was to pick this up, you shouldn't be, because it reads very fast, but in the same time it leaves you with a lot of questions, and it's just beautiful in its sadness. I highly recommend Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Next up, I have read OK Days by Jenny Mustard. First of all, funny story, I have posted a picture of this book on my Instagram, and I didn't tag anyone. Someone sent the picture to Jenny Mustard and she actually reposted it on her story. She left a comment. She was so nice and I was just stoked that she found that picture. So thank you, Jenny Mustard. Now onto the book. We are following Sam. She is 28 and she is currently on vacation in London, staying at her cousin's apartment while her cousin is on vacation in Greece with her girlfriend. This is a dual POV. We are also following Luke. Luke is this guy that Sam meets in London and they have this situationship over the summer. They seem like they like each other a lot, but there are some things that escalate from the fact that Sam is staying in London only for the summer and she has to go back in Stockholm by the end of the summer. We are following them individually, we are following them together. It is just a beautiful story about love and about people. I wouldn't say this is a romance or a love story, I would more so say this is a story about love. This gives off 500 Days of Summer vibes, the movie from, I think it was 2009 with Zooey Deschanel, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I think also Chloe Grace Moretz was in that. But I absolutely loved 500 Days of Summer. I think it's a beautiful representation of just love and young people falling in love, and this book did just that. Obviously the plots are completely different. Also, if you enjoyed Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, read this book. Please read this book because I'm sure you will love it as much as I did. Some things that I really enjoyed with this book: Sam, our main character, is half Romanian. Her dad is from Romania, and as a fellow Romanian, I was very happy to see that. I did not expect that at all. There's a certain scene where they're all having dinner together and they're also having some Romanian, like what we consider to be traditional dishes here. And when the character said that she's eating zakuska on bread, I was like, oh my god, say no more. I'm going to the fridge and I'm going to eat some zakuska on bread right the fuck now. This was absolutely amazing and heartbreaking at times. I feel like I related so much to the characters in this book because they are 28 and 27 respectively, and I'm 27, so I just feel like I'm in that period in my life where this story was very relevant to my life experience so far, and this was a joy to read. This is Okay Days. Next up for this video, I have read The Honey Witch by Sidney J. Shields. This was really good. This was really good. I was a bit confused in the beginning by everything that was happening because you start with the first chapter and it's some, world building. We get to know our character a bit more, and then in the second chapter, it just goes from like 0 to 100 in like 2 pages, and you're kind of like, what is happening? But the things that didn't make sense in the beginning for me were explained more towards the middle of the book, and I was quite happy about that. We are following Marigold. She is in her early 20s. She doesn't really know what to do with her life. She feels like she doesn't have any talent, and her family is pressuring her into getting married, but she doesn't want to do that. One day, her grandma visits their house, which never happens because her mom doesn't ever talk about her grandma, and her grandma is like, Marigold, look, I know you had visions. I know there are like some things going on, and I just want you to know that you're a witch. I am a witch, and we have to go back home to Innisfree. And Innisfree is this island where the Honey Witch resides, and it seems that the Honey Witch's magic is linked to the magic of the island. It's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. Basically, her grandma tries to convince her to go with her to access her full power and save the island. Also, the grandma is like on her last days on Earth because she feels like she's dying. This is also a sapphic romance. It just comes out of nowhere, but I feel like it builds, and then you kind of see it. I love the representation in this book. We have a lot of queer characters. It's never a struggle or something that's viewed in a certain way by the society. It's just like, yeah, we're together and that's it. The magic system in this book is very interesting. Basically, on the island of Innisfree, they have all of these bees, and because the witches have control over the bees, and they can tell them like where to go and which flowers to pollinate. Is that correct? I don't know. I don't know enough about bees. They're creating all of these different types of honey, and based on the type of honey, they can do certain potions, but it's really like an apothecary that they have, and they just can heal people and make them find their soulmate, and fertility controlling potions and all that jazz. I love the pacing of this book. I think it was done quite well, and I'm very curious to see what this author will come up with next. This is The Honey Witch by Sidney J. Shields. The next book that I read is Café con Lychee by Emery Lee, and I know this is not yellow on this dust jacket cover, but the actual hardcover is yellow, so that's why I picked it up for this video. I have to be honest, this book was a disappointment for me personally. I didn't get the main characters. I just thought they were kind of annoying and one note, and nothing was really happening for the majority of the book. In this one, we are following Gabby and Theo as they are just navigating high school and coming to terms with their sexuality and just navigating friendships and relationships and all of that jazz. My problem is that all of the other characters from this book, they just seem to be there to make the plot very convenient for these two main characters. And even then, as I said, the main characters and the relationship between them, I just didn't buy it. The plot didn't make any sense, and I felt like if the parents would have communicated a bit more with their children, none of this would have happened. Some things just like rubbed me the wrong way with this. The parents, for example, they are super lazy and almost passive in their children's lives, and they don't communicate well. This is supposed to be an enemies to lovers. It is not. The families, I mean, the parents of these two main characters, each of them owns a coffee shop, and they are each other's competition. And okay, I get that. But that doesn't mean that if the parents have a business and they're competing with each other, that doesn't make the kids or the children enemies or rivals. Like, why? I know I'm not a target demographic for this book, and maybe I don't get it, but this was rough. Theo treats his friends horribly, and he is so mean to everyone, and we are supposed to care for him. Why? One thing that I appreciated about this book is the multicultural representation. But it was just not enough to save this book. If you want to read this one, maybe try to borrow it from your library and see if you like it. But for me, it didn't hit the mark. The next book that I read is Daddy by Emma Cline. This is a short story collection and also my first book by Emma Cline that I read. I also have another one by her that's called The Guest. I think that one's a thriller kind of, but this one I really liked the writing style. I think the best word to describe her style is very cinematic. As we are seeing these vignettes from these characters' lives, you kind of have the feeling that you're just looking through someone's window and just see this episode from their life, and then you kind of move on to the next window and so on. I think Taylor Swift also has a song about this on TDPD. I look in people's windows and they think I'm a deranged weirdo. I'm not sure if that's how it goes, but this is the feeling that this book gave me. I feel like with every short story collection, I have stories that I relate more with or I like more than the others, and that fact is true with this book as well. I really liked the first, I think the first three of the short stories, and then also towards the end there were some really touching stories. In the middle was kind of it was okay, but it was not as impactful as the ones from the beginning and end. If you wanted to pick up this book and you were not sure about it, definitely give it a go. I don't know if all of the short stories will resonate with you, but this is such an interesting collection, and as I said, the writing style is just beautiful. This is Daddy by Emma Cline. And last but not least is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. This feels like a love letter to people that just love books and love reading. In this book, we are following this guy who recently lost his grandpa, and because his grandpa kind of raised him, he's obviously very sad and distraught and kind of depressed. And his grandpa owned a bookstore, a secondhand bookstore, because this seems to be the theme with all of the Japanese cozy books. I'm not bad about it. But yeah, one day there's this cat who enters the bookstore. It's like a ginger tabby cat that's also portrayed here on the cover. And the cat's like, "Hey man, what's up? Do you wanna help me with something?" And basically this guy goes on this journey with the cat, trying to just save books from people that are either ripping apart the pages of the book or just like imprisoning the books in these like clear cases that no one ever touches, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a book collection, you know? It definitely felt a bit cliche at times, but it's also cozy and heartwarming if you are into cozy Asian translated literature. I definitely think this is a great pick. It didn't quite hit the mark for me personally, just because I feel like I read kind of the same thing and it was done better in other books. This is The Cat Who Saved Books. And the book that I didn't get to in this video is Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I definitely will want to pick this up at some point later in the year. The light is just like not consistent in this video because I'm filming this in front of my window. But yeah, this is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching and being here on the channel. I really appreciate you, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.